Okay, welcome, Jennifer. Robbie's in the building. He'll be here shortly. Okay, welcome, Rainey. Just in time. Robbie just walked in. We're getting started in just a second.
Testing, testing.
Hi, Lisa. Hi, Robbie.
Okay, good evening.
Hi.
Okay, good evening, everyone here in the Gampa and everyone online. This is our second of 4 classes in the Discovering Buddhism module, Developing Bodhicitta. Let's see, do we have anyone who's here tonight who wasn't here last week? A couple of people. Okay, great. I think you'll be able to jump right in. I'd like to start off with some prayers and some meditation. So you can take the gold prayer book and open to the red tab, page
Page 34.
34. And we'll recite Taking Refuge in Generating Bodhicitta and the 4 immeasurables together in English. These are really the whole content of this module in these 8 pithy lines. Refuge is the wish to be free from suffering for ourselves. And bodhicitta is the wish to become enlightened for the benefit of others. So it's all inclusive. We're not leaving anyone out. And when we read the 4 immeasurables, these are the 4 immeasurably great aspirations or wishes. Again, because they're all inclusive. Nobody is left out. So we can just read these together in English. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. And again, 2 more times. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings be inseparable from the happiness that is free from suffering. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from attachment for friends and hatred for enemies. So we read those prayers just to help set our motivation for everything we'll discuss together this evening over the next hour. And we'll begin with some meditation. So first thing we do is establish our posture. If we're seated on a cushion on the floor, we're towards the front of the cushion, not in the back, but towards the front. If we're sitting in a chair, we're sitting up straight, not leaning back in the chair. If we're on our cushions, our legs are in a comfortable position, crossed, uncrossed, whatever works. If we're on in a chair, our feet are flat on the floor. Our back is a little bit straighter than we normally sit. Not rigid or tense, but just a little bit straightened out. All our vertebrae are one on top of the other. Our head is straight on our shoulders, maybe just a couple degrees in front of the vertical, but not leaning to one side or the other. Our eyes are either just slightly opened or very lightly closed. Our lips are lightly closed with our tongue on the hard palate behind our upper teeth. Our shoulders are down and back a little bit so that our chest is open. Our arms are a little bit away from our torso, and our right hand is on our left, with our thumbs touching slightly below the level of our navel. So just take a minute, scan the posture, identify any sources of tension or discomfort, and address those now so they don't become a recurrent theme of your meditation. And we can take 3 deep breaths with our abdomen expanding on the in-breath and contracting on the out-breath. Just 3 deep, slow breaths like that. And we allow our breathing to return to its normal pattern. And again, we set our motivation. And as much as possible, we generate the bodhicitta motivation, the aspiration to become enlightened so that I can be of benefit to all sentient beings without exception. That probably doesn't come naturally, but we can kind of forcefully or effortfully generate that motivation. And having set our motivation, we'll do a little bit of concentration meditation. We just place our mind, our awareness on the physical sensation of the air moving in and out through our nostrils, that tactile sensation of air moving in and out. Nothing more than that. And every time we notice that our mind has wandered off to something else, we just come back to the movement of the air. And now we're going to do a few minutes of the equanimity meditation that we did last week. We're going to visualize in front of us 3 people that we actually know. To our left, in front of us, someone that we like quite a bit. To our right, someone that we don't like or that irritates us or gets on our nerves. And then straight ahead of us, someone that we really don't know anything about at all. Maybe somebody we've seen in a store or walking down the hall at the office, but we have no strong feelings one way or the other about them. So establish your visualization, 3 actual people in front of you. Now, initially, these 3 people seem quite different. I'm attached to one. I want to push one away from me. And I really don't care one way at all about the other. But right off the bat, we see that's me. I'm saying that. That's how I react to them. But it's not how everybody reacts to them. Those qualities of likability, dislikability, indifference, those are coming from me. They don't exist out there inherently in these 3 people. And we know that people move back and forth among these categories. At some point, the person we really liked was a stranger. We didn't even know them. The one that we're indifferent to could become an enemy. Again, because of how I label them. And if we're willing to look closer, we see that all 3 are really very much alike. They all want to be happy, all 3 of them. All 3 don't want to suffer. And all 3 of them possess the potential to become enlightened, to completely develop their qualities of wisdom and compassion, to become Buddhas. So they're really very similar to each other and to myself. There's much more in common amongst all of us than differences. We're all equally worthy of being loved, of compassion, and of becoming enlightened. So it's said that to really develop bodhicitta, we first have to develop a sense of equanimity, to stop putting people into these 3 categories for really what are fairly arbitrary reasons, and to see how they're very, very similar. So just think about that in a few minutes. What does that really mean? Equanimity towards all living beings. And as always, we can end our meditation with a brief dedication. Acknowledge that we've done something positive by sitting and thinking like this, something that has made a positive imprint on our mind stream, and think, may that not be lost or dispersed, but may it ripen in the future in a way that benefits all sentient beings. And you may relax. Okay. So, like I said, this module is on bodhicitta. And if you don't remember anything out of it, do remember the definition of bodhicitta. Somebody want to say it back to me? Awakened mind. That's the actual translation of the words bodhi and chitta, the Sanskrit word. And what is the awakened mind? It's the mind that aspires to become enlightened for the benefit of all sentient beings. Okay? No one's left out. Okay? Everybody's included. Pam Bondi's included. Okay? You're becoming enlightened for her benefit. Let's see. So that's the kind of the fruition of the compassion wing of enlightenment. Enlightenment is developing our mind to its utmost of compassion and wisdom. So bodhicitta is the fulfillment of the compassion wing, and the wisdom wing is seeing reality as it is without any projections or preconceptions. So as we said last week, enlightenment means you're wise and compassionate. Simultaneously, you've completely developed those qualities in your mind stream so that no other thoughts arise. No stupid thoughts, no jealous, angry thoughts even arise. It's not like you're suppressing them. They don't even arise because you've removed the causes for them. Because if we're good card-carrying Buddhists, we accept that everything happens because of a cause. Nothing is random. Enlightenment only happens to us if we create the causes for enlightenment. And to break that down, bodhicitta only happens in our mind stream if we create the causes for bodhicitta. So the Buddha gave us two meditative paths that we can use to develop bodhicitta. If one, first we have to think that enlightenment is possible, that we want to become enlightened, and that bodhicitta is part of enlightenment. So I'm not going to go into those bigger issues, but if you have some sense of that, he said, here are two methods you can use to develop bodhicitta. Because as we talk about in Buddhism, our mind is infinitely flexible, has infinite potential. So there is nothing in it that is fixed or unchanging. It can be changed. And we change it by changing the quality of our thoughts. Our mind takes on the nature of our thoughts. Basically, you are what you think. If you think compassionate thoughts, you are compassionate. And the Buddha said it is possible to train your mind, to develop it, so that you do have nothing but compassionate thoughts and wise thoughts. That's a possibility for each one of us, for every human being, for every cockroach, for every being with consciousness throughout existence. Okay, so we've decided, yeah, we'd like to give this bodhicitta thing a try. So if we've developed bodhicitta in our mind stream so that it's always there, it's not intermittent, what are we called? What's our name? Yeah, bodhisattva. Okay, we're a bodhisattva, and that term is used fairly loosely. Sometimes it's used as comparable to a Buddha, but it's not. A bodhisattva is not really a Buddha. A bodhisattva has developed the compassion wing, and arhat has developed a wisdom wing, and the Buddha develops both wings, so the bird can fly with both wings. Okay, so a bodhisattva is someone who's completely realized bodhicitta, so it's just in the nature of their mind. And he gave us two ways to develop this. Next week, we'll be talking about the second one, which is called taking and giving, Tonglen. It's a very special practice. A lot of people make that their main meditation practice. They find it very rewarding. The one we're going to talk about today is called, and the numbers are a little, or in the phrasing of it's a little bit off, but it's 7 causes and 1 effect. Even though there are only 7 points, there's not an 8 point to be the effect. So it's really a 7 point, 7 causes with 1 effect, all leading in the same way, based on a ground level of equanimity, which is why we talked about that last week. So it's kind of like we're going to build a building. The ground is equanimity. If we try and build it on liking some people and not liking others and not caring about the vast majority, we can't build a bodhicitta building. Okay, that's not a good foundation. So we have to start with equanimity. Not that we're perfected, but at least start to develop a sense of equanimity. And His Holiness the Dalai Lama actually said this technique, these 7 causes, is trickier than taking and giving. It brings up more personal issues. And you'll see when we talk about some of the points, a lot of people find some of this off-putting, but I'm going to give you the party line and we'll go through the 7 points. So we've got our foundation, equanimity. We've developed some sense of equanimity. Okay. This is a series of meditations, and it's not like you perfect one before you move on to the other. You can work on all of them if you find this meditation technique useful. And the first one is a loaded issue for some people, and it's referred to as seeing all beings as our mother. Okay, it doesn't mean we see everyone as our mother of this lifetime. Okay, it's not imagining that I'm looking out here and seeing my mother and each one of you, my mother of this lifetime. It's seeing us as being as closely related to every being as if they were our mother. Okay? And this is based on the idea of having had countless previous lifetimes, countless rebirths and having been in every possible relationship with every other being that is possible. So we know, if we accept that, that it's definitely a fact that every being has been our mother at some point. We probably don't remember it. Of course, it means every being's been our enemy too, but that's not what we're going to meditate on because we don't find that particularly helpful or useful. But it's approaching every being with that feeling of closeness, as if this is the person who gave you life. This is the being that gave you life. The cockroach is my mother. Okay. The gnat is my mother. The person who causes problems for me at work is my mother. Is that person carried me in the womb and gave birth to me. Now, if you have a terrible relationship with your mother of this lifetime, that's okay. We're not talking about her. We're using the very kind of abstract, general relationship of having had that relationship, been in that relationship with every being. Okay? We're that connected to everybody. So that's the first meditation that we work on, that we try to realize when we're working on the 7 causes. Okay? Let's see. Any comments on that? Any questions? Anybody rejected out of the bat? I mean, it does depend on, accepting the idea of rebirths to some degree for it to have any real validity. But this is what the Buddha said. Any comments? Okay. Second is, this is even more loaded. We remember the kindness of our mother. And if we had a good relationship with our mother of this lifetime, we can think about the ways that she was kind to us. And particularly, it said, think about what she taught you. Okay, how to bathe yourself. She toilet trained you. Okay, how to bathe yourself, how to dress yourself. She helped you learn the alphabet. She taught you how to behave in public. Because teaching is really, the greatest thing. That's why we want to become a Buddha, so we can teach others. Okay, not because it gives us magic powers to enlighten them, but so we can teach. Okay, so that's a great kindness of the mother. The physical kindness of carrying us in her womb, of giving birth to us. If you had a bad relationship with your mother in this lifetime, back off a little bit. Think about other people and their mothers. Or if you can't even do that, think about the kindness of your father or of someone else. Okay, but this is feeling close to everyone, and then seeing them as having been kind to you at some point. Maybe not right now, but at some point they have been kind to you. Okay, so we're feeling close to everyone. We remember their great kindnesses to us. So this is a whole meditation you can do. If you can just think about the kindness of either your own mother or other mothers for their children, how great that kindness is, how self-effacing it can be, how it's just the essence of generosity and patience. Okay, so we remember the kindness of mother. That's the second meditation. The third is, from that, we have, let's see, okay, the wish to repay their kindness. And this is also said to be gratitude. Okay. We remember the great kindness, and naturally, the wish to return that, to give something back, occurs in us. If we have this feeling, this remembrance of how kind others have been to us, in this lifetime and other lifetimes, the wish really naturally arises of gratitude, of wishing to give back to them, of wishing to do something in return for them. So that's the third meditation. The fourth is love. Okay? And this is the wish that they be free of suffering. Excuse me, the wish that they be happy. Okay? We have this sense of gratitude, and then we think, may you be happy. That's what love means in Buddhism. Okay, so this is, again, we're not just thinking about one person, we're thinking about all sentient beings. May you be happy. Okay? The fifth meditation is compassion. Not only may you be happy, but may you be free of suffering. So this is saying, may you have happiness and its causes. This is, may you be free of suffering and its causes. This is how we react back to these people who have been so kind to us, all sentient beings. The sixth one is taking responsibility. I will do everything I can to make you happy, to make you free of suffering. I take personal responsibility for that. I dedicate all my energies to, this sounds grandiose, to the happiness and freedom from suffering of all sentient beings. I am going to take that on. I will do that. And how can I do that? What is the best thing I can do for other people? Yeah, get my own act together, okay? The greatest gift we have for others, the greatest way to relieve their suffering and cause their happiness is to get our act together. So that's bodhicitta. I'll become enlightened for the benefit of all sentient beings. Okay? It's like if you see someone drowning and you don't know how to swim, but you jump into the deep end of the pool to save them, results are not going to be very good, okay? You have to learn how to swim if you want to save people who are drowning. If you want to help people who are suffering and unhappy, the best way to do it is to get your act together, to develop your qualities of compassion and wisdom to the greatest degree possible. So we develop bodhicitta and become a bodhisattva. Not yet a Buddha, but we're getting there, okay? Bodhicitta is really the rocket fuel that, because once we develop that wish, we just want to do it as fast as possible to get all the way to the complete stage of Buddhahood. So you can see there's 7 separate meditations. So that's why this one's considered a 0 here. That's kind of the base. So it's 7 causes for one effect. The numbering and the phrasing, it's translated, so it's a little bit off, but there's 7 meditations. You can see how they form a sequence, but you can do each meditation separately, okay? If there's one that particularly speaks to you, like the wish to repay the kindness of others, you can just concentrate on that, okay? If you don't find this useful in developing a sense of bodhicitta, then maybe Tonglen, which we'll talk about next week, is the way for you. As His Holiness said, there's some dangers in these things, and it brings up a lot of issues for some people, a lot of me and a lot of I when we start to think about this. And that's not the whole point of developing bodhicitta. But it can bring up some issues for people. Any questions or comments on this?
You have online, if you have a question, just feel free to unmute and ask your question. Anyone in the Gamba, just raise your hand and we'll pass the mic to you.
Okay, we got one back here.
How could this create issues?
Well, I think if you try and see all sentient beings as your mother, and you've had a problematic relationship with your mother of this lifetime, a lot of people get stuck there and have issues with it. They have a hard time as seeing any mother as being kind if they had a very loaded experience there. That's one way, okay? And then just, again, stuck on remembering your mother of this lifetime was not kind to you in most ways. Some people have issues with trying on that number there. Yeah. Any follow-up there? If you don't have issues with it, that's good. I'm just saying some people do, and His Holiness has acknowledged that.
So it's that specific issue that
That's a big issue, yeah.
Okay.
That's the main one, yeah.
any other ones or just that main one? Any other
I think some people have problems with the idea of taking responsibility. That can bring up a sense of, I don't want to do that. That's not for me. Okay, that's another area where some people have issues.
that's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, yeah.
Responsibility for every being's life.
Yeah, it is. That's a heavy one, yeah. Uh-huh. Okay.
That's all.
Okay, thank you. Sivan?
That's kind of along the lines of my question about the other lineages of Buddhism. Why, if bodhicitta is so important, why they're, like the Theravada branch doesn't feel the same way.
Yeah, I am not an expert on explaining. We're in what's called the Mahayana tradition, which is the tradition of Tibet, China, Japan. The Theravada traditions are more the Southern Asian types of Buddhism. And my understanding is they really don't believe that enlightenment is a possibility, or they don't talk about it. Okay, they really emphasize the wisdom aspect, which leads to the end of personal suffering. Okay, not that they're not compassionate. I mean, they're incredibly kind. And so, these are not completely separate. They do, when you start seeing things as they are, your compassion naturally arises. But, the Buddha said different strokes for different folks. You don't have to take all my teachings. And if you find that way works for you, the Theravada tradition, go ahead and do that. The Tibetans will say that the Mahayana tradition, with the wisdom and compassion equally emphasized, you're getting the whole enchilada. And it takes you beyond nirvana to the state of complete enlightenment. But I am not an expert on that by a long shot. Anyone else? Okay, another question.
What's beyond nirvana?
Well, the enlightenment, complete Buddhahood, the state of becoming a Buddha. Okay. The Mahayanas will say that nirvana, the state of non-self, is an unstable state, and that ultimately you realize that there's still countless suffering beings out there. Even though you have eliminated personal suffering, your mind is not content to stay there while others are suffering. So you have to develop the compassion way. That's the Mahayana point of view. You know, I'm sure the Theravada point of view is going to be somewhat different.
So nirvana is getting rid of the ignorance or delusion in a sense.
It's not really something we talk about in this tradition. Okay. It's an end of personal suffering, and it's a state of, to some degree, non-self is my understanding. Okay. I don't really, yeah, it's a state of, an end. Okay. According to the Theravada tradition, but the Mahayana tradition will say, no, it's not really an end. It's just a way station on the way, that we're all aspiring to complete Buddhahood. And that's a potential for every one of us. Okay, some of the Theravadas will deny that. They'll say, no, that's not a possibility. That's just for a very select few.
What would make someone in the Theravada view able to attain something? Like what separates?
Well, what they're doing is they're eliminating all the obscurations that prevent them from seeing things as they are, and all negative karma from their mind stream. But that's not really what we're going into tonight, okay? And that's not my area of being qualified to talk about that much.
Okay.
Okay, thanks. Anyone else before we do we go through these and meditate on them? Okay. Okay, so now we'll do a brief run through all these 7 points, just so we start to get familiar with them. You won't really get a much sense of what they're really about, but just so you get introduced to it. The 7 causes. So again, start by setting up your posture. Three deep breaths from the abdomen. Set your motivation. And concentration meditation. Just place the mind on the breath. And we can begin by just reflecting on equanimity. A deep sense that everyone wants to be happy. Everyone wants to be free of suffering. Everyone has the potential for Buddhahood. Regardless of whether I like them, I don't like them, I don't care about them, everyone is the same in that way. All beings, all human beings, all animals, all insects, all beings in other realms. I can relate to all of them on the basis of that, of their wish to be happy and free of suffering. Now think that every one of these beings at some point in time has been my own mother. I am that connected to every sentient being without exception. That parent-child relationship exists with every sentient being. I am that connected with everyone. And every one of these sentient beings has shown me so many kindnesses. We can think about our mother of this lifetime, how she was kind to us, or examples of mothers being kind to their children that we've seen. Animals that have cared for their young, cared for them, met their needs, taught them, set an example for them. Every sentient being has been that kind to me. And remembering those kindnesses a feeling of gratitude arises, a wish to repay their kindnesses, to give something back to them, not just to our mother of this lifetime, but to every sentient being. A wish to repay them out of deep gratitude for their kindness. And out of this sense of gratitude comes the wish that everyone, every sentient being has been kind to me in this way can be happy. That I return their kindnesses with love, with the wish that they be happy, that they experience nothing but happiness and its causes. And out of a sense of gratitude to each and every sentient being for the kindnesses they have shown me, I give them compassion, the wish that they be completely free of suffering. I react to everyone with compassion, every sentient being. I wish you could be free of suffering. and seeing how those who have been so kind to me are unhappy, are suffering. I take it as my personal responsibility to do everything I can to free them from unhappiness and suffering. That is my responsibility. No one else will do it. I am going to do it. The great aspiration. And the greatest thing I can do for others is to develop my own mind, to develop completely my qualities of wisdom, of seeing reality directly, and my qualities of compassion. The best thing I can do for others is to become enlightened, to develop my mind into that of a Buddha. And that's the bodhicitta wish. And when we develop that in our mind, it comes with a sense of urgency. I have to become enlightened as quickly as possible to help others. And you may end your meditation with a brief dedication and relax your concentration. So there's a quick run through the whole sequence, just so you get a little sense of what they're about. Like I say, you can make a practice of going through all 7, or you can just pick one and concentrate on it. There's plenty to work with in each point of this. Any questions before we finish, or comments?
I have
Yes.
a question, just, so I'm on the path to enlightenment, bumping along, and I decide, maybe I want to go over here for a little while and help others achieve enlightenment, so I can
Uh-huh.
follow the bodhisattva path
Yeah.
a
Mhm.
little bit closely and
Yeah.
try to do that.
Mhm.
But I'm still on my way to enlightenment, right?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
I'm just choosing to be a bodhisattva, to try to become a bodhisattva,
Yeah.
to help
Mhm.
others.
Yeah.
And that's the Mahayana way.
Do both of them. Yeah. Mhm.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
But I'm in a sense delaying my enlightenment.
You can do a
Or-
couple of things at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Chew gum and walk. in the street.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
That's a good way of putting it. Yes. Yeah. I don't think you'd be delaying your own enlightenment then. Yeah.
And is the Dalai Lama a bodhisattva? Don't we consider him?
You ask him, he says, I'm just a simple monk. Yeah. You don't get a card or a pin or anything. It says but people talk about him as the embodiment, particularly of the compassion aspect of enlightenment.
He's helping
Y-
others.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So, but he's not going to admit to it. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, so that's one method the Buddha gave us of developing bodhicitta. Next week, we'll talk about Tonglen, giving and taking meditation. There'll be a lot less talking on my part. Hopefully, for that one, it'll be a less wordy. But these are meditations. They're in what we call the analytic category. Where we take our concentration and use it to really grapple with a topic and come to some sort of conclusion and test it against our own experience and say, this makes sense, this doesn't make sense. And then we work with that in our mind stream in a very concentrated way, but it's still meditating, even though it seems a lot like thinking and there are a lot of words. Okay. So that's it for tonight. Next week is Tonglen. And then the week after, our last class is the benefits of developing bodhicitta. Okay. What kind of difference it can make in our lives. Okay, so thank you, everyone.
Just remind everyone that this Sunday is Losar will be celebrating the Tibetan New Year here with food and frivolities.
Yeah.
of some type. Yeah.
Partying, yeah, so that'll
Yes.
be at 10:30, our regular time, and then there'll be refreshments and Tibetan food and song and dance afterwards. So,
Everyone's welcome.
yeah, bring your friends, family, everyone's welcome. Yeah, thank you, Lisa. Okay, thank you, Lisa, and
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Robbie.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Lisa.
Right. Have a good
Thank you.
week.
Good to see you.
Sorry, my Wi-Fi got cut. I was out.
Oh, that's okay. You were able to get back in though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Miss you, Rainey. Hope you're doing well.
Bye, Lisa.
Bye, guys.
Leave.